Let's go ahead and take a look at math lesson 6.5. We're going to be adding fractions together here. And notice it says 8/5 plus 3/5. When you add the numerator, you get 11/5. Remember, the denominator doesn't change. It's okay that it's 11/5. This is just a fraction greater than 1. So carefully go through and add or subtract, depending on the problem. Pay attention. When you get down here, you're going to be adding mixed numbers. So let's look at number 7. 2 3/5 plus 1 1/5. First, you're going to add the fractions. 3/5 plus 1/5 is 4/5. So you get 4/5. Then you're going to add the whole numbers. 2 plus 1 is 3. 3 4/5. Let's look at the next problem, number 8. 2/5 plus 4/5 gives us 6/5. Now we have a fraction that is greater than 1, and this is what you got to watch for. The numerator is greater than the denominator. So what we need to do now when that happens is divide the numerator 6 by the denominator 5. And we get 1 1/5. So leave the fraction part on the fraction side. Okay, 1/5. Take the whole number. This is really important. A lot of kids forget to do this. Take the whole number and put it up here. Okay? 3 plus 1 is 4 and 1 is 5. You want to keep the whole numbers with the whole numbers and the fractions with the fractions. So the final answer is actually 5 1/5. Let's try that again. 5/8 plus 3/8 is 8/8. We know that 8/8 is the same as 1 whole. So in this particular problem, we're just going to convert this to 1 whole. Carry it up top. 1 plus 3 is 4 and 1 is 5. So it's not 5 8/8. The final answer is just 5. So let's circle that. Okay. All right, here's another one. 2/3 plus 2/3. That's 4/3. Again, numerator bigger than the denominator. So we divide the numerator by the denominator. And we get 1 1/3. All right, now the fraction stays on the fraction side. We take the whole number, carry it over to the whole number side. 5 plus 1 is 6, 7, 8. 8 1/3. Now let's try some subtracting. This first one isn't too much of a problem. 6/8 minus 3/8 is 3/8. 5 take away 3 is 2. 2 3/8. No problem. This one is going to be a little bit more difficult in that it's 6 2/8 minus 4 5/8. Notice that the fraction down here is bigger than the fraction here. And just like in regular subtraction, when that happens, you have to regroup. So we borrow from the 6, make this a 5. And we're actually going to add the whole number that I'm borrowing to this fraction. And here's how we're going to write it. We're going to write it as 8/8. That's the same as 1 whole. The reason I'm using 8s is because the denominator is an 8. So 2 plus 8 equals 10/8. Now I can subtract because this fraction is now bigger than that fraction. 10/8 minus 5/8 is 5/8. And 5 minus 4 is 1. Let's try that again. I see that this fraction is larger than that fraction because 3 is greater than 1, so no problem. Borrow. I'm going to add 5/5 to this. The reason I'm using 5 is because the denominator is a 5. 1 plus 5 is 6/5. 6, take away 3 is 3/5. And 3 take away 1 is 2. Let's try it over here. 1/6 minus 4/6. I have to regroup. I'm going to add 6/6 to this one, which gives me 7/6. Kind of did that as mental math instead of writing it out. 7 minus 4 is 3/6. 4 take away 3 is 1. So in these problems here, when the top fraction is smaller than the bottom fraction, you're going to have to regroup. Now down here it's explain each solution. I think for right now we're going to skip those and go on to the next page. Now we're working with comparing and then subtracting, trying to compare these two mixed numbers or fractions and see which one is smaller than the other and then subtract. So at number 19, it's pretty simple. 3 2/5 is greater than and that's the symbol for greater than 1 4/5. So that means that we're going to have to subtract 1 4/5 from 3 2/5. And once again, we've got a situation where this fraction is smaller than that one. Just regroup. Add 5/5, because that's the denominator. 5/5 to 2/5, you get 7/5. 7 take away 4 is 3/5. And then don't forget to subtract the whole number. 2 take away 1 is 1. Okay? Let's look at number 20. Now we have a fraction and a mixed number. So, no problem. You need to line them up correctly. And let's go ahead and I'm just going to write it like this. We're going to compare the numbers. 2 2/9 is greater than 8/9. 8/9 is less than 1 whole. But when you write it, you have to keep the fractions together and the whole numbers together. So whole numbers go in this column, fractions go in this column. You would not want to put the fraction here. That would be incorrect. Again, this fraction is smaller than that. Let's regroup. I'm going to add 9ths to it this time because the denominator is a 9. So 2/9 plus 9/9 is 11/9. 11 take away 8 is 3/9. There's a whole number sitting up here. That's okay. Just bring it down. 1 3/9. Let's look at problem 21. You have 14/11 and 1 6/11. I notice that this numerator is bigger than the denominator, so that means it's greater than 1. So maybe in this particular case, it might be better to change the mixed number to a fraction greater than 1. So 11 times 1 is 11, plus 6 is 17/11. And I can tell that 14/11 is less than 17/11. And then I'm just going to subtract 11. Whoops, I wrote this incorrectly. Let me write that right. Fix this over here. I'm going to write 17/11 on top. And I'm going to subtract 14/11. And that gives me 3/11. I can write that over here. and circle it. And you know what I forgot to do over here? I forgot to write the final answer. So let's make sure we do that. Circle it for me so that I know where your answer's at. So 22, you're just subtracting mixed numbers. Remember, you'll probably have to regroup on this one. You don't always have to regroup, so be aware of that. If you look at problem 23 here, it's 4 and 3/6 is greater than 3 and 2/6. Some kids make the mistake once they start regrouping, they regroup everything. They're not really paying attention. 3/6 is bigger than 2/6. You don't have to regroup. 3 minus 2 is 1/6. 4 take away 3 is 1. 1 and 1/6. Okay? Don't forget to compare and then write your answer. All right, so do the rest of those problems.